Guten Salat.
Flash! Flash, I love you! But we only have 14 hours to save the Earth!
Hey, reflection, I really like you. Don't want your friends. Hey, man, I think it's pretty funny given who I am. Nothing can stop me. I'm living in a single-player game. Oh, you can't stop me. You can't stop me. It's a party for one.
Caleb Dirksen. Holy cow.
Alexander Peters.
Okay. I guess, hi everybody. Welcome to Irrational Transaction. I am Alexander Peters, and I'm joined as always with, my good friend Caleb Dirksen.
Hi, I'm Caleb Dirksen, and more like irrational transaction, am I right?
Okay. Holy shit. Okay, so
I like your energy right now.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been sitting
You know
on
what
this.
it is? You know what it is? We're time shifted. So usually, it's my late night and your early morning, and we flip the script, and it's my afternoon and your late night.
Yeah, and I just got off
the energy
work.
flow is different.
Yeah, I just got off work. I ran over here as fast as I could. So I have things. I don't know how you felt watching the movie this time around, but when I was watching Flash Gordon, by the way, I guess if this is your first episode ever listening, thank you for listening. We watch the film Flash Gordon Saves the Savior of the Universe once a week and talk about it. And we'll be
Talk
doing
about it every single week, and every single week it's exciting, and it's fulfilling, and people love to listen to it.
every single week. No duds so far.
No sleepy. Don't listen to last week's episode.
No, but you know what? It's just all part of the experience. We were a little bit exhausted. We were a little drained, but how do you feel leaving the watch of this last week?
Can I say I'm gonna get canceled for this, but I really, really like this watch. I'm gonna pull the curtain back a little bit. I'm gonna let the tiger out of the cage, and I have to confess something. I have to confess a sin. On my rewatches, I'm putting it on like 1.2 speed.
You son of a bitch.
And it makes the movie like a lot better.
You
like there's a
bastard. I feel
I'm
betrayed. I'm
cutting like 5 minutes
so
out.
betrayed.
I'm cutting like 5 minutes out.
That's
it's not
5 minutes of Hawkmen diving. You're not going through with me.
It makes the Hawkman fight a lot better. It makes it a lot better.
Caleb, how could you?
What do you feel? How do you feel? I like this energy. Let's dive into that.
Okay, so since I've watched this movie the first time ever, I was captured by the imagery, not necessarily the scenes, not the landscapes, not the sets or anything like that, but they use symbols in this movie so frequently. Like if you look at costumes, like the thing that like I was most
it's the red, white, black, gold language.
Exactly. But here's the thing that sent me down a spiral. And Caleb, I'm going to be upfront with you. I was sent to a very dark corner of the internet as I was looking into all of these.
Flash Gordon Rule 34?
No. Nothing like that.
How dark?
So the first symbol I thought I recognized was General Clytus. His chest symbol is like two inverted triangles, and I'm like, where do I know this? I'm not a big enough nerd to like know symbols or runes and what their meanings are, but I'm
gonna call bullshit on that. I think actors are the biggest nerds I've ever met.
But I did play a little game called Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. And there's a card with two inverted triangles that I recognized called the Seal of Orichalcus, and that was just I had to look that up in order to find what the actual symbol is called, because Yu-Gi-Oh used a symbol from an actual thing. But this
is it Egyptian?
I don't believe that it's actually Egyptian, no. But this symbol on General Clytus's chest is called a unicursal hexagon. Now, what the unicursal hexagon is, Caleb, it's like it's used to ancient Egyptian Ankh, so it is Egyptian, but it's used to represent the microcosmic forces meeting macrocosmic forces.
What is that? Can you
So
can you
like
dumb it down for me?
just looking at the words, the microcosmic forces meeting macrocosmic forces. So like the small things in space meeting the big things in space. And if you look at the movie,
Interesting.
Flash Gordon and the people, his posse, could be seen as microcosmic because they're only first taking their first steps into the larger areas of space. And I thought, that is fascinating. Huh, interesting. But
Flash Gordon meets the Imperial Vortex.
exactly. But while I was looking into this, I got sent down a little bit of conspiracy theory internet, okay?
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
And another one of the symbols.
And you've been radicalized.
I've been radicalized, Caleb. No, I've one of the
I love QAnon now. Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon Deep State.
yeah. But another one of the main symbols that we see is on Emperor Ming's chest. You have the 8-pointed star, right? Like an octagram. Now, that's like used in many different cultures to like ancient Chinese or Buddhists to symbolize like the eightfold path of Buddha or like the star of the Magi, all sorts of stuff. Now, the reason I bring this up is because, Caleb, I'm about to make a very big called shot, okay? This is... all I have to go on is the research I was doing while watching this film, okay? I just want you to hold my hand and walk through it.
I'm here. I've got you. I am Flash Gordon holding up Baron as he dangles over the abyss.
Okay, so
Have you drawn it out?
I have my notes here.
You're like have you fucking watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, right?
I've seen parts of it, and I know what you're referencing
you've seen
right now.
the Charlie scene where he's got all the threads and the papers on the wall. This is you right now. You're like, it all makes sense.
So Flash Gordon, Caleb, when he first meets Zarkov, there's a point where he says, "Lord knows why," and that got me thinking. He's like, why would he say that way? Is Flash Gordon? He's an all-American man. Odds are he's probably a born-again Christian. Lord knows why. So that's kind of, that was just a thought I had. That's probably what he's going through. That's kind of like his worldview.
There's a lot of religious figures. So you got the Lord. You've got the Jewish Lord. You've got Daizan. You've got is it Arbor? Arbor?
I believe it's Arbor. Yes, but if you'll ask as two boys who grew up in the Bible Belt of Canada, you can ask any good Christian family. Symbols in anything, no matter what it is Devil Bezatan, which is like just demons, just bad. Doesn't matter what it represents, they're just bad. Okay.
For background, everybody, me and Alexander both grew up Mennonite, which is a Protestant sect, and they believe anything more than drywall in the church is demonic ornamentation. And so, if you paint your church with two colors, you're straying to the dark side.
Exactly. And this movie came out around like the scare with D&D and like the devils and stuff like that.
This is so interesting. I cannot believe it. Yeah, the demonic panic, that and the rock music.
This would have come out right around that time, and
wow, look at us.
All of these foreign aliens living in space are covered in these symbols. Like the Hawkmen have the Star of David on their forehead. Like they're archangels. Yeah. Like they're angelic protectors, which is crazy because they also live a life of vice. And the Tree Men, their insignia is the all-seeing eye, which is something in and of itself, which you see everywhere and anywhere. But like you also see pyramid on Ing's statuesque face, which is hilarious. But I'm just spouting a bunch of things right now. One of the main point of interest is I want to talk to you is the name of, and we talked about this last episode, Ming's god is
I call upon the great god Daizan.
Exactly. Now, Daizan. Have you ever heard of the book of Zayan?
Zayan?
Yeah.
Or Zion?
No, it's D-Z-Y-A-N. It's literally just Daizan, but you flip the Z and the Y. So it's the book of Zayan, okay?
No, what is that?
It's like a reputedly ancient Tibetan text that was used by a lady named Helena Petrovna Blavatsky to basically form the theosophical movement, like theosophy, in the late 1800s. Okay, which is basically she called it the secret doctrine, the synthesis of like science, religion, and philosophy. It basically reconciled ancient Eastern wisdom and modern science and brought them together as a religion. It was considered very heretical. And like if you just look at Ming's whole style, it's very Eastern mysticism, but there's also lots of technology in there as well. And
it's really interesting you bring this up because sort of the theme and criticism of like the main character is sort of this unfair, or I guess this yellow peril representation of sort of a evil, quote unquote, Oriental, quote unquote, villain guy. So it really interesting.
Yeah, and it was so strange to me that like Daizan and Zion were so similarly connected. My theory. I'll wait to get to the punchline in a second. Okay, so
I'm excited. I'm really excited. This is the best energy this podcast has ever had. I feel like we turned a corner.
I'm going to send
Finally, Flash fans rejoice. The podcast is good.
Are you familiar with a man by the name of Anton LaVey?
Anton LaVey, no.
I'm going to send you a link.
Okay.
The founder of the Church of Satan.
Okay.
Tell me what that man looks like to you.
He looks exactly like Ming the Merciless. I see a goatee, the sort of circle, what do you call that? The circle mustache where the chin goes right into the beard.
I'm
bald
not
head.
sure. He's got the arched eyebrows.
He looks like if someone made a Sims character based on Ming. Or I guess it probably happened the other way around.
Exactly. He looks to a T what Ming would look like if someone were to cosplay as Ming, or someone were to, let's say, design a villain based off a real life person.
Ming is literally Satan.
Exactly. So
is that your thesis?
My thesis, Caleb, is that Flash Gordon. Okay, let's look at the relationship between Flash, Hans, and Dale. Okay? Dale is constantly needing to be saved. In every situation she's in, she needs to be saved. She tries to save herself at one point, but she gets captured right away, and she needs to be saved. Hans is the instigator. He's the one who pulls everything together and makes it happen. Flash is the executioner. He's the one who does the saving.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I posit that the film Flash Gordon is... I don't know who pulled the strings or who caused it, but someone was trying to make this a Christian film behind the scenes somehow. Okay?
Interesting.
Because look at all of this. Hans, acting very much like the father, trying to instigate a plan he has set to try and stop things from happening. Dale is humanity and humanity's plight, constantly trying to save themselves, but they can't. They need to rely on, what's the name of the film, Caleb? Flash Gordon, the savior of the universe.
Of the universe. Oh, wow. This is kind of yeah. You're breaking my brain a little bit.
They could have called him anything. They could have called him hero of the universe. They could have called
Flash
him
Gordon
champion.
literally dies in front of everyone and then rises from the grave.
And he comes back to life.
Wow, okay. This is reframing this as a religious allegory at first I was a little skeptical. It makes perfect sense.
I was putting all these pieces together, but you pointed out right at the end there, that was the linchpin. That was, but he dies and comes back. Holy shit.
So, and of course, Alexander, and we're missing the most obvious point. This whole irrational transaction, one life for billions, is this a Christian idea? The sort of this Christian idea of Christ dies on the cross to save us from our sins, quote unquote. Wow.
This
that's really
film
interesting.
is Space Narnia, an allegory to show everybody the one true God that exists
Flash
in the
Gordon.
world is Flash Gordon. Exactly.
Oh, and then here it is. Sorry, I got. Sorry for the atheist. Sorry, not for the non-religious listeners in the audience. We had a hefty Bible education, so apologize if we're we're taking some knowledge for granted. But in the Bible, there's a story where Jesus goes into the desert to fast for 40 days and nights, and the devil comes to him and offers him anything he wants, just like Emperor Ming comes and offers him a kingdom they'll be satisfied with less.
And he straight up offers him a kingdom. Like the devil straight up offers Jesus a kingdom in the Bible, but he's like, no, mine is the kingdom of God. But I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Interesting. Huh.
There's just too much to ignore.
Then it's really, it's quite... Yeah, huh. I like how you tied it in with all these symbols of what they called... What was the word for it? Satanic panic.
Exactly.
Dungeons and Dragons...
and that was what was what sent me down on was simply just remembering a Yu-Gi-Oh card. And that
has to be a Flash Gordon chick track out there. Are you familiar with the chick tracks?
Mm-mm.
There's a guy named Jack Chick. Real name. It sounds badass. Jack Chick is like a very religious fundamentalist guy, and he did a bunch of comics that featured, like, you've seen this one in memes, but Jack Chick writes a comic where a group of kids get together to play Dungeons and Dragons, but then they actually like get one of the dungeon master is actually like a demon, like a satanic priest, and then they gets the kids to like kill their parents because they want to quote unquote level up. And I mean, it's like the most insane.
Man.
But they're called chick tracks because like these little comics are called tracks. But I mean, it's like the most. It's pretty insane, like satanic panic. But I wonder if there's got to be a.
See, I was picturing Family Circus, but that does not sound very Family Circus to me.
Oh man, here, let me send you a. This is from the chick track, and also this is without. They almost seem they're so hilarious. They almost seem ironic, but this is totally real. People actually thought that, and I guess people to this day, we all have people in our life who are horrified of Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow, this is really sad to look at.
It's funny. Did I tell you here for the listeners? We're going deep. I actually, this is way back, like 8 years ago. After I graduated high school, I actually spent a year at a Bible school.
You did?
Do you remember I went to British Columbia for...
Oh, right.
I know, I forget about it sometimes, but I remember... And so I didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and so I thought, I don't know, I was raised religious. Maybe Bible school is the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember in Bible school, we tried to play Dungeons and Dragons, and one of the professors actually shut it down.
Actually?
He thought that the people wouldn't be able to understand where the game ended and life began.
I guarantee you could have called it literally anything else, and you could have just called it Pathfinder, and he'd been like, "Oh yeah, that's fine."
I mean, yeah, the reasoning makes no sense. Like when I play Monopoly, I'm under no illusion that I'm a investment mogul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I play Destiny 2, I'm under no illusion that I'm a terrible PvP player. You know, I don't actually think I'm the character.
A warlock that solely uses Nova Bomb.
It's interesting too. Speaking of religion, I read an article about Flash Gordon the other day where someone was criticizing. I didn't really agree with it because someone was criticizing Zarkov for being like sort of ambiguously Jewish, and to me I thought he's not ambiguously Jewish, he's explicitly Jewish.
It's
right?
very clear that he's Jewish.
He says after he wakes up, he says, I kept my memories because I recited the Talmud.
Which was interesting that he said the Talmud, because that's religious debates, right? That's not the actual book that they study.
Well, I don't want to alienate the Jewish fans. Jewish fans, we love you.
Yeah.
The Talmud is the central text of rabbinic Judaism and the primary source of Jewish religious law and Jewish theology. So it's different than the Torah.
Okay.
I guess, right? The Talmud is a record of rabbinic debates in the 2nd to 5th century on the teachings of the Torah, both trying to understand how they apply and seeking answers for situations they were encountering.
Yeah, it is debates, right. Yeah, so that proves that he was like, his go-to is the Talmud and not the Torah. So he's open to like thinking outside the bun, as it were.
He said about how to apply his faith. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Wow, this is
a very different episode of Flash. I'm sorry about that, listener, but
I've never even looked at the symbols. I feel like such a dumbass. I'm looking into this. I just looked up this article, "Hidden in Plain Sight: The Secret Symbolism of the Movie Flash Gordon, 1980."
I was reading that one a lot, actually.
Oh yeah, with there is the SS symbol in Ming's.
Yeah, this I will say this guy is very much into
Oh, this is a Q guy.
Yeah, everything is in place by the Illuminati, and this is them just trying to subject us to their symbolism. I drew a different conclusion. But I love
that interpretation of I love that interpretation of movies. It's like, I see something in a movie, therefore, it's a real thing that's being imposed in the world, instead of Ming is evil and associating him with an SS symbol clearly states that he's evil.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's almost on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there if you want to check it out at some point. But yeah, that was my big takeaway. I'm sorry, I had a big thing that I needed to say. I needed to talk to you about and draw your attention to it. Aside from that, it was that gave me life in this watch. This watch was very frantic for me. I did have it playing in its entirety at its normal speed in front of me as I was doing research left and right all over.
Yeah, this article is a bit flawed. It's a bit.
Yeah.
But wow, we have turned a corner in our Flash Gordon analysis.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the podcast. This is the podcast glow up era.
The Renaissance.
The podcast renaissance. I mean, what else is there to talk about? Do we just cut it now? No, we can't.
No, we can't. We need to go through our building blocks. Caleb, what was your favorite line this watch?
Oh, my, I'm going to probably say I liked Dale and Aura more this watch.
Really?
I find we were very critical on them when we first started watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I think part of it too is just like these old movies, they kind of like do women like a little dirty, because it's just like they show up in the sexy bikinis and they do the sexy stuff and then they get saved.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I don't know, when I start to think of them, it's like, poor Dale, she's just a travel agent who hates flying, she's out of her element, and girls get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I found that she becomes, like, I hate to say this, but more bearable.
Honestly,
but
I will say, some of my favorite moments are Dale adjacent, and the point where she's trying to flip that hourglass over again and saying it won't flip over. I like that more and more every time. It's a great line, and she really milks it for all it's worth.
I think my favorite line this time is the young boy the young man entering the priest, the Green Temple,
mm-hmm.
and he says, "I am now of age, Green Father."
So
and sticks his hand into the stump and dies.
Yeah.
Which is funny to introduce something with such a high mortality rate in such an already violent world.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Alexander? What was your favorite?
It's when Zarkov and Baron are handcuffed to a wall, and it's just a cut to them, and Baron's like, "Tell me more about this man Houdini," and then it cuts away. It's That's one of my favorites. I've been meaning to say it for a while, but it's just very good.
I've got another good line. Sorry. I like it when General Kala, when they're brainwashing Zarkov, and General Kala says, "We will empty your mind as if we would empty your pockets."
Mm-hmm. And what is that thing she does with her hands there?
She does she rolls her hands like she's scooping like little ice cream pails,
little memory balls. Yeah,
memory balls. Which I like.
It's very hypnotic. Yeah. What's your favorite character / actor this time around?
I mean, there's so much. It's got to be General Kala. She's. I think we talked about this before, and this is why we need to get into the 40th anniversary edition soon. Mm-hmm. But apparently, there was supposed to be in the non-existent extended cut. There's apparently more scenes where Klytus and Kala are more antagonistic toward each other, and there's more of a political power struggle between them.
Right. Yes, we have talked about this before.
They're competing for who has the favor of Ming.
They're playing more political chess.
As how his entire empire runs, because his entire empire, or his power system, runs on having these kind of different groups pit against each other so they don't turn on him. So everybody's competing for his favor. As seen with, the Hawkmen taking... as seen with the Hawkmen taking the ice jewel from Phrygia, even though they're allies of the Arborians who fought alongside them, they still stole the jewel to give to Ming because there's this constant competition to keep them in line.
Yeah.
How about you, Alexander? What was your favorite actor?
Probably the doctor that brings Flash back to life because he instigated the rising of the Messiah. And so the doctor...
So the doctor is God.
Yeah, exactly. He was my favorite actor this time around. I will say, actually, you know what? Voltan's daughter comes back.
What? No.
Yes,
Wait,
she's back. She is on their planet when they're partying and eating food and drinking as Dale and Zarkov are being flown on into the city. There's a couple of scene setting shots, insert shots, and there's a scene with her sitting at a table. It's a wide shot, so she's not the center of it, but she's there. And then in every other scene, she's not there. So she must have been on the call sheet one day and then wasn't able to make it for the rest of it because she was there for one insert shot and then she was gone, which means she's not in Ming's palace.
They should have cut a scene into the Ajax rocket fight where he climbs up, he screams dive, and she dives down on somebody and stabs
just
impales. She gets her wings.
And your least favorite actor / character?
My least favorite, it's getting harder and harder to choose because I find myself warming up to a lot of these characters. Mm-hmm. I'd say
it's all good.
I can't give one.
It's fine.
I can't give one.
If you've got too many warm fuzzy feelings, sometimes you just can't shit on something.
I know what, I need someone here with the critical distance.
Yeah.
I lost my objectiveness. I'm too emotionally entangled.
I will tell you, Caleb, my least favorite is Ming.
Please.
Because he's the devil, and the devil is bad.
But you don't think he has a compelling argument? He'll be satisfied with less?
Nope, he's the devil. Devil can't have compelling arguments because that would make me a bad person.
You can like the actor without...
That is
this
true.
This is going to recontextualize the whole podcast now. Every time I've said something nice about Ming.
Yeah. And I guess finally, Caleb, how would you rate the movie this time around, your watch, on a scale of 1 to 100?
I would rate this... the opposite is happening of what I thought would happen, which I thought I was going to hate this movie. I thought I was going to be driven from it. But it is just warm, fuzzy feelings coming back, looking at the colors. I was just taken in by the colors this time. It's just this beautiful palette of red, white, black, and gold the entire time. And you're just swimming in the colors and everything. And 100 out of 100.
100 out of
Moral of the story.
100. Wow.
99. We got to cut the
That's
Hawkman scene
insane.
down.
I was gonna say 99 as well, actually.
Holy shit,
because it sparked something in me this time. I'd been dreading watches for so long, and then I just did a simple Google search on the unicursal hexagon, and that sparked it. And I was looking at it through fascinated eyes, trying to figure out what meant what this time around. I was all over this movie, and it was like I was watching something brand new.
Wow. This is... Before we close this out, though, I feel like we need to give the audience a little bit of background to ourselves. I was like, for all our loyal listeners who have been with us for so long, who are clamoring, I feel like we're kind of enigmatic figures in that all people know about us is that we love Flash Gordon, Saviour of the Universe. Maybe just for the listeners at home, Alexander, you want to give a little summary about yourself and who you are and what you like? Just something to keep the people, build a parasocial relationship with our fans.
I mean, I'm all for parasocial relationships. Oh man, you put me on.
I'm a parasocialist.
Put me on the spot here. Well, I'm an actor. I moved out to Vancouver from Manitoba to pursue the dream. I make music. I'm a dungeon master for a D&D group that's been going on for almost 2 years now. It's crazy. We've been doing the same story. It's been awesome. I kind of that's been my one constant throughout all of the auditioning and trying to like get projects or working on strange projects. I know that I'm going to be doing D&D. Yeah, I married really young, as most people did where we grew up. But
that's Bible Belt culture right there is get married ASAP.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, Janessa and I got married later than most, considering, because we were like 23 at the time.
Oh, that is old. That is like you should have like 2 kids by then.
Yeah, exactly. No, not 23. It's been almost 5 years now. So I guess 21, 22, something like that. What about you, Caleb?
Hi there. I'm Caleb Dirksen. I live in South Korea, Seoul, right now. I am a architectural intern, which for the uninitiated means basically the same thing as architect. And I am an aspiring animator. One day I'll work in that field. I like lots of stuff. I like making things. I like, putting stuff together. When I lived in Canada, I had a beautiful, huge office where I had like all this model making stuff, and I would make models for Dungeons and Dragons, big pieces of terrain. I had to give that all away when I moved, but that's how it goes.
Hopping over the pond like that, I had to lose some of that extra stuff.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm gonna build it up. There's actually down the road. There's a nice, what would you call it, like a model shop, like for painting and stuff.
Like Warhammer stuff.
Yeah, like Warhammer. No, it's not. I guess it's more like, I don't know, the South Korean equivalent of Warhammer stuff, which is like Gundam models and mech stuff and anime characters stuff. I gotta get into that. I gotta get into painting because I like doing a nice paint job instead of just with my terrain. You just like paint it one color and then you do a wash, like a black wash, and then that's it. But we're getting esoteric for the fans. This one's for the fans who love Flash Gordon, Fiddler on the Roof. Oh yeah, let's talk about that quickly.
Can't go one episode without bringing up Fiddler on the Roof.
So this fucking guy, Alexander. So Alexander, let me tell you about Alexander. Alexander is kind of one of my nerdiest friends, I'm happy to say.
Hey, I'll take it.
And, well, I guess, no, I have some, yeah. Some of our mutuals, I think, are maybe a little nerdier than us.
I mean, I think people who are into cars are nerdy just in a different way. And know a couple car jockeys.
Yeah, that's true. But me and Alexander, and I think I was in 7th grade, and I had never been in choir before. And Alexander, you and another friend of ours, a guy by the name of Colton, convinced me to join choir. Is that right?
Yeah, and he's definitely going to be on the podcast at some point.
I'd love that. I think he'd have a very unique take on Flash. But we together all starred in, well, I say starred in, featured in a little musical called Fiddler on the Roof when we were in 7th grade. So Alexander played one of the leads, right? Were you Laser Wolf or who were
No,
you?
that was Colton. I was what they did was, and I'm almost certain we've talked about this before,
Yeah,
but
but this is for the diehard fans. We want to get into the details.
yeah. What they did was they had the kids play multiple characters different nights so that everyone had a chance to be everyone they wanted to be. So one night or 2 nights, I can't remember, I was Tevye, the father of the daughters, the same guy as Zarkov. And the other nights I was someone trying to woo one of the daughters. His name was Perchik.
The revolutionary,
Yeah.
right? He was a communist or a para-communist, if you will. Yeah, so this is the thing. Alexander was a what you would call a good actor and a good singer. So he had a lead role. Colton also had a lead role. And I played Russian soldier number 3 and Rabbi, who had no speaking parts. So it just kind of tells you, I think that tells you a lot about who we are and who I am in relation to these guys.
Well, we all do different things, right? And the thing is, Colton's still salty about this. And if you ask him about it, he'll talk about it. He originally, when he auditioned, he booked the same roles as I did. So one night I would have been Tevye and he would have been Perchik, and then he would have been Perchik and I would have been Tevye. And there was another guy thrown in that mix as well. So there was 3 nights of shows, so it would have gone around. But he went on a 2-week vacation to California during rehearsals, and the director was super petty, and she was like, no, you don't get to have the roles if you're gonna not take this seriously. And so she gave him one of the supporting roles as opposed to the lead that he had initially booked. And he's still pretty salty about that.
She was a bit pretty. I digress. But yeah, sorry, listeners, to put the pin on it, to put the pin on the head, what we're getting at here is the musical we were in 7th grade, Fiddler on the Roof. The film version of Fiddler on the Roof starred the actor who played Hans Zarkov as Reb Tevye, the lead singer in Fiddler on the Roof, and then he's Hans Zarkov, so we've always loved him.
Yeah, and he's
always had a special place in our heart.
That film was our first introduction to him as an actor, I believe. It was for me anyways. I don't know if you'd seen anything with him in it before that.
No, I think, he's a little bit, besides that, he's a little bit before our time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We should do for the fans, we should just do a Fiddler on the Roof cast.
See, you say that, but that's a long film.
It is like 3.5 hours long.
It is a long film. And I don't know how uploading audio that long would work on a free hosting website.
You don't think we can put out a 4-hour podcast?
It might have to be, well, even the one where we were recording a watch, I had to lower the audio bit rate like crazy.
You compromised? You compromised our audio?
I had to compromise it, yeah, for it to even upload, which was fine because there was a lot of silence in there anyways because we were watching a movie.
Yeah, we did get kind of swept away in it.
it's Flash Gordon. It's hard, okay?
Hey, we're learning.
Yeah,
we're still young.
Exactly.
Youngish. Well,
we're almost 30.
Okay, we're 26. We're not almost 30. Okay, good night, everybody. Have a great day. Love you all. Hey, if you're listening to this, we love you. We'd like to thank Dwy.
Yeah, Dwy, for the use of our theme song, Party for One. I almost forgot. Thank you, Caleb.
So in this context, is the Party for One Flash Gordon as Jesus?
Is he the one and the 3 parts that are whole. Flash, Hans, and Dale. The 3 made whole.
Fuck, that's funny.
Also, if you get the chance, maybe if you enjoyed our dumb little podcast, leave a rating of 5 stars on whatever you're listening on. It really helps us out, pushes up, boosts up that algorithm. That would be fantastic. Thank you so much. We love you all. I was going to talk to you because we haven't found a solid closer for this podcast in a while. This is the entire time we've run this. It's always like, bye everyone, or whatever, stuff like that. Or But I feel like keeping into the spirit with things, how do you feel about just like a solid trying to say it at the same time at opposite ends in the world so we can manifest it into reality? Just a simple, long live Flash.
Okay.
How do you
Count
feel
me
like
down.
that? It's corny as shit, but how do you feel? No countdown. We just try to make it match. We just...
Okay.
Okay. No, you're counting down with your fingers, Caleb. We can't...
How can we synchronize if we can't count down?
No, we just try. We just try, Caleb. We just try. Okay?
Here we go.
Long live Flash. Hey.
Hail
There
Ming.
we go.
Sorry,
no,
not Hail Ming.
Hail Zarkov. Hail Ming.
Hey man,